Just really be gentle with yourself during this time. Know that if you do have a lot of stuff from the past that's coming up, that are triggers that are coming up, wounded parts of you, trauma imprints that are coming up, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're not doing anything wrong. The thing that you want to watch out for is you don't want to get involved in those old stories and then find yourself in them and then acting them out. That's when you get into trouble, right? Anytime you have a trigger, anytime you have something that comes up from the past that basically means you have energy about something that is much bigger than the circumstance really, would call for. Anytime that happens, there's something in there that wants to be healed. And the trick to that is to not believe it and not to dive into it. I want to let you know that I have been thinking about this process a lot because we are all so much in this experience right now because of, like I said, what is going on with the cosmic energy that we're all being influenced by. And I have done a huge amount of work really over the last 25 years, but especially in about the last 3 years, where I have been working a lot with my deep substructure and really working on my own awakening and my own ascension process. And I've had some really deep things coming up. And I was thinking about, well, what is it that I actually do that I can then provide to other people? Because I've already been through it. And it doesn't mean I'm done. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that I have been in this work for a long time. And I feel like I do have some expertise in how to manage this process that I was just describing to you. So I created a model called the Cycle of Awakening, and it has 6 different stages. And what it does is it maps from where we're kind of living in a programmed state, if you will, or a conditioned state, where we're still living inside of the stories that are familiar to us, that we inherited from our families, that were inherited from our culture, from the ways that we were taught to conform so that we could be successful and happy in life, right? This is one of the things that we all grew up with for the most part, is you got to fit in so things will work out for you. And it was a way to try to keep us safe, right? And ideally for us to have a good life. But it also has led us to live inside of boxes that are much smaller than who any of us really is. And so this process of awakening that we're going through is about, kind of stopping and going, wait a minute, why have I been doing this? Why did I agree to do that? What is that? I mean, I had a big aha of this when I was teaching at Columbia, and I realized here I was teaching at an Ivy League university. I'd done, achieved everything I set out to achieve, right? And I was like, wait a minute. Why am I here? Why am I doing, what is this about? And I felt this really deep disruption because this is what I had been doing for 15 years. And I had a good job and I had come to this pinnacle of where I was at. And I just knew it wasn't right. And so that started for me almost 30 years ago now. Yeah, pretty much 30 years ago. And so I've been really working with that process. I've been through it a number of different times where you have this moment and you're like, you start to realize things are not working anymore. I don't feel great doing what I'm doing. Somehow things are really off. And then you start to realize the ways that you've given away your power, you've given away your authority, you've shut down your expression, right? You say yes when you mean no, you say no when you mean yes, all of that kind of thing, right? And then what do? Well, that's the next step, right? That's when you need to go inside and really start excavating what's going on in there. And so I created this whole model for how you do that. And also, what do you do when you go inside? How do you work with what's going on in the inner landscape? How do you work with that trauma pattern so that you can help it to heal and release and integrate? And then you kind of clear the path, right? At least for the moment, because there's many layers, but you clear the path at that moment, and then you can start to make a new choice. So this is something that I just created a new program around, and I created it specifically for women at midlife because women at midlife are generally going through this cycle of awakening that I just described. But then we're all on steroids with it right now because of what's going on cosmically. So, most of the people who pay attention to my videos are women at midlife. But if you're not a woman at midlife, you could still benefit from this program because it does have this cycle of awakening in it. So this is it's a small but mighty program. It's called Roadmap to Your Midlife Awakening, and it has some really great tools in it to help you to get yourself into a rested and restored state so that you can actually do this kind of inner work. And then it walks you through the cycle of awakening and also gives you access to a recorded workshop that I did where we walked ourselves through that. So you actually get to have a lived experience of what it's like in the cycle of awakening. And after you go through this, then you have the ability to start to create your own breakthroughs. And I'll come back to this in a minute because there's something else going on with the alignments right now that is related to that. But then you have that ability to not wait for things coming at you from the outside to stimulate you into, evolving to your next level. You actually can master it and do it for yourself. And this is the place that I've gotten to at this point where I know, like, if I start to feel something, or even if I'm like, I want to move forward in a direction and I can feel I'm running into resistance, or I notice that I keep getting distracted, I keep wanting to do that and I keep getting distracted, which is a form of resistance, right? Then I can use the cycle of awakening to proactively go in and break that apart so that then I can actually move forward in the way that I want to. Because it's a new program, I am offering it at a 25% of what it's usually going to cost. It's only $47. It'll be $197 when I put it out in my store. But I wanted to just give it to all of you in a really affordable price if this is something that appeals to you. So the link for it will be down below. The $47 will only be available through Monday, May 4th. So just know you need to get it right away. You can always get it at the retail price if you want to, but that'll be that. And for those of you who register by then, I'm also going to do a welcome session next week as well. So just know if that appeals to you, check it out. Go ahead and get it, and I'll see you hopefully on the in the welcome session.